Monday, April 7th. Yugoslavia falls. Surrounded by countries which covet some part or other of its territory, it is an easy prey for Hitler and his allies. The divisions between Serbs and Croats, along with the weakness of the Yugoslav army, make her defeat inevitable. German armored divisions occupy Skopje and advance towards Monastir, while units of the Italian army take over the region of Venetia Giulia. The lack of Yugoslav resistance hinders the defensive strategy of the Greek army, which sees the Germans break through the Metaxas line and head to Salonika in their unstoppable march. At the same time, Luftwaffe bombers attack the city of Piraeus and sink the British ship Glenn Fraser, which was transporting weapons and munitions in its hold. RAF planes heavily bombed Sofia, the capital of Bulgaria. In North Africa, the troops of Rommel advancing along the coast approach Derna on their way to Tobruk, which is being heavily defended by the 20th Australian Infantry Brigade. Churchill has ordered them to resist at all costs. In East Africa, Addis Ababa, the capital of Abyssinia, Ethiopia, is occupied by British forces under General Alan Cunningham after a 1,600-kilometer march from Kenya. Tuesday, April 8th. In Yugoslavia, the Germans occupy Nice and head towards Belgrade through the Morava River Valley. The Luftwaffe stops bombing the Yugoslav capital. The German forces and their allies have, during the course of the invasion, disrupted all communications between the Yugoslav, Greek, and British armies. The Greek army of Eastern Macedonia surrenders, and the Germans take Salonika, one of the most important ports of the Aegean. Mussolini claims territories in the Balkans as part of his empire-building project. In the Battle of Britain, the Luftwaffe heavily bombs aircraft factories near Coventry. The RAF attacks the German naval base of Kiel on the Baltic Sea. In Moscow, Stalin orders greater efforts in the building of fortifications along the western border. In North Africa, the Axis troops under Rommel continue to advance across the Cyrenaica. Those marching through the interior occupy Machili and Masous and capture the British generals O'Connor and Nîmes as they attempt to withdraw to Timimi. The forces marching along the coast occupy Derna. The commander of the British troops, Archibald Wavell, flies to Tobruk with the Australian General John Laverick to analyze the situation and to try and halt Rommel's march. In East Africa, Eritrea is now completely under the control of the British forces and their allies. Wednesday, April 9th. In Greece, after the collapse of the Metaxas line, the German troops that have occupied Salonika force General Konstantinos Bakopoulos to surrender and take 70,000 prisoners. In Yugoslavia, after the occupation of Nice, a panzer division commanded by von Kleist heads to Belgrade. RAF bombers supplied by the Americans drop incendiary bombs and explosives on Berlin. Hitler is forced to sleep in an air raid shelter. Next morning, He scolds Göring for the ineffectiveness of the Luftwaffe. In London, Churchill declares in the House of Commons that Britain will win the Battle of the Atlantic with the help of the United States. He also affirms that no matter how much Hitler escalates the conflict, the British will be ready to respond.
That it is the Battle of the Atlantic.
In Iraq, troops loyal to General Rashid Ali occupy the British airfields near Baghdad. In North Africa, Lieutenant General Johann Streeck, following Rommel's orders, deploys the 5th Panzer Division south of Tobruk, while other Axis troops make their way to Bardia. In East Africa, in Eritrea, Allied forces take the port of Massawa and seize 17 Axis freighters. Thursday, April 10th. In Yugoslavia, German troops commanded by Maximilian von Weichs move into Zagreb, in the north of the country. Members of the Croat nationalist and anti-Serbian Ustaša movement welcome the troops of the Third Reich as they enter the city. Croatian leader Ante Pavelić announces the creation of an independent Croatian state and breaks off relations with Yugoslavia. Hitler and Mussolini will recognize the new state in the following days. General Henry Wilson prepares a tactical retreat of the British troops stationed in Greece to Crete. In Berlin, after a meeting with Hitler, Goebbels declares that the Nazi leader looks ecstatic following the recent developments in the war. Later that day, the Führer leaves to the town of Monchikirchen in southern Austria to follow the progress of the Balkan campaign from his train America. In Moscow, Stalin's government creates the Special Fighter Aircraft Unit of Red Air Force, which is charged with the task of defending the capital and Leningrad. In the Battle of the Atlantic, for the first time in the war, an American destroyer attacks a German submarine with depth charges off the Icelandic coasts. Friday, April 11th. In Hungary, martial law is imposed. Hungarian troops cross the Yugoslav border established in the Treaty of Trianon between the Danube and the River Drave and advance towards Novi Sad and Bačka. General Dusan Simović, the leader of the coup d'etat and head of the Yugoslav government, delivers a speech from his hiding place, stating his belief that the Soviet Union will soon intervene with the support of Britain and the American governments. While undergoing repairs at the base of Brest in France, the German cruiser Gneisenau is hit by bombs dropped by British planes, rendering the ship useless for the time being. Birmingham is heavily bombed by the Luftwaffe, while the RAF pounds Berlin. President Roosevelt informs the British Prime Minister Winston Churchill that the United States intends to extend the maritime security zone in the North Atlantic. He also states his willingness to open bases in Greenland. In North Africa, Rommel's forces take the port of Bardia in Libya. The British and Australian troops of General Leslie Morshead lay mines around Tobruk with the aim of fighting a trench war. Saturday, April 12th. German forces of Dachreich Division, commanded by George Stuma, take Belgrade, the Yugoslav capital. Meanwhile, the 2nd Italian Army marches along the Dalmatian coast of the Adriatic Sea, taking the island of Ugljan and heading towards Dubrovnik. In Greece, troops of the Waffen-SS, led by the brutal Joseph Sepp Dietrich, a close friend of Hitler, arrive at the Klidi Ravine to the south of the town of Vevi, where hand-to-hand fighting is taking place with Allied soldiers who are forced to surrender or to flee to the defensive line of Aliakmon. The Croats name Ante Pavelić, the leader of the Ustasha revolutionary movement, as head of state. Pavelić orders the arrest of all Jews, Serbs, Gypsies, and Communists and sets up the concentration camp of Jasenovac, where more than 600,000 people will die. American troops occupy the Danish colony of Greenland to avoid a possible German invasion. Their task is to install several weather and submarine observation stations to support Britain in the Battle of the Atlantic. In North Africa, Axis troops besiege Tobruk and march towards the Egyptian border. Rommel orders the first attack against the city, which is repulsed. From London, Churchill insists that Tobruk must resist at all costs, for it is one of the most important ports between Sfax in Tunisia and Alexandria in Egypt.